parade of grafters.
Jacinta, no!
Ding, ding.
What are you thinking on the shots at the moment? Are you a shot person or?
I am a shot person,
You're
yeah.
a shot person. Maybe we can get the intro rolling.
Annie in the night from calling to Merrion, loving every night, friend to everyone.
So there you go, that's our new shtick. Guests get an intro track.
That's amazing. I love that. Thank you.
So today was the Deep Clean Monday.
Yeah.
Where are you at the moment?
Power Corruption and Lies at the moment.
Oh, nice. Which is what used to be Norman's.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that, because have you been back on Call Lane for, how long have you been back there now?
Only 6 months.
Okay. Because I always found Call Lane could be a little bit dicey at times, and it felt like it was predominantly the Norman's vibe that kind of felt like it was a bit, obviously there's kind of the lad element that some of the places draw. But so what's it like now on a sort of, say, a Saturday night, 2 a.m. on the street?
I think there was always Norman's, and then there was always the rest of the street anyway, to be honest, because I've always gone out on Call Lane and we would not go to Roland's on a regular basis. We might go for one, but it's not the kind of, like, they didn't let a lot of, like, big groups in and boys, and we just went to see our friends, really, so we wouldn't really go there. And there was obviously problems, especially towards the end, which is when I was, like, predominantly working up on Merrion Street, so I was kind of away from it all. So I think the difference is big, because Power Corruption and Lies is so different.
Okay.
But I think, to be honest, just the timing of it, Power Corruption and Lies was opened, I think, 2020. So just after lockdown. So there was all those changes as well. So to be honest, it's kind of hard to say what the change has been with things like that differently.
Pre-post-pandemic vibe as well.
Exactly, yeah.
It's never felt like the city's kind of fully got back into the pre-pandemic vibe.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I guess you've got a lot more of I'm a silly office worker type now, but you're at the forefront of things. So is that accurate, you reckon?
No, definitely. I think 2 a.m. a day before the lockdown it was heaving all the time. There was people having to be, like, asked to get out of the alleyway. People were standing in the street. People were, like, just filling the street outside and inside. It was so busy all the time. And yeah, it's obviously different now. 2 a.m. it does look different. You can kind of, I think, tell where's busy and where's not just by kind of walking down the street.
Okay.
I think people are a little bit more purposeful in where they're going.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was just you go down to Call Lane, you just go.
It was manic. It was like everyone just spilling out onto the pavement. I remember you'd take a break and just sit on the pavement and watch the madness. And it's
exactly that.
It's a little sad that that's not fully returned, but
yeah, to an extent. But I
guess for the bar workers, it kind of makes Call Lane a bit more manageable and a bit more your place. Less of the dickheads and more of just, like, people that you know and want to see in the bar. Yeah,
again, I think it's about people being a bit more purposeful. So I worked at Call Lane Social after the lockdown, and that was still very, very busy. And that was very busy and very kind of silly, but I would say that was more similar to, not exactly Norman's vibes, but that was more just, you just go at the end of the night. No one purposefully chooses really to go. Well, at the time, maybe it's different. It's 100% different now, sorry, but...
Which one are you saying?
Let's go Jameson, classic.
Finish the bottle.
But yeah, people just go for the end of the night, so it really was kind of like rowdy and difficult, even after lockdown. But yeah, Power Corruption and Lies and the rest of the bars, people go there because they like it.
Yeah, what's Power Corruption and Lies like then?
Really nice, really like chill.
Cocktail vibes or?
Yeah, it's like nice cocktails, nice food, but informal.
Oh, okay.
So we have amazing cocktail bartenders, amazing managers that have been around, everywhere, some of the best places in town. And it's just a little bit maybe more relaxed than, say, like like the Alchemist or anywhere like that.
So similar vibe to that, then that's what they're going for.
It's a bit more. It's more unique. Obviously, it's an independent.
Kind of the indie hedonist, the indie alchemist sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like disco music, fun party vibes, but you can sit down and have a meal first.
Cool. And what's the? I always forget all the names. Is it not Aikido?
Yeah, Aikido. Aikido.
Aikido.
Yeah,
Aikido. I said I went with Aikido, but yeah,
it's close enough.
Yeah. And what are the bars in that group? It's
Jake's Bar, Oporto, Neon Cactus, and Power Corruption and Lies, and then Escapism is like the other half. And that's Tiki Bar, Call It In Social, Cuckoo, and half of Merrion Street as well. I
filled that a little too much, but let's toast to the demise of the Tory government.
Yes.
Oh.
Familiar.
Yeah, I really like that aspect of the Leeds bar scene with that sort of independent bars run by independent groups. It's I think when you learn that there are essentially the bars aren't 100% independent, as it were, you can feel a bit, oh well, it's just another fucking corporate thing or whatever, until you realise what it actually is, the element of what the group is, that it is just essentially the same sort of thing. It's all independently owned. Is that much of a thing across the UK that you're aware of? Or like Manchester probably has a little bit of that, because Manchester's got a great bar scene. But going across the country, it doesn't really seem like there's much like what we've got here.
Yeah.
Or have you done much kind of getting, because I know you do a fair bit of bouncing around.
Yeah, I do like to go different places. Is that what you found? You just not got the same feeling of Leeds?
Whenever I've gone anywhere, really. Like, London aside, but... I mean, is that just my not knowing the right places to look? Like, if you go to Sheffield, would you say that there's a similar vibe in Sheffield, or...?
I've never had the same feeling of going somewhere as a customer or as being part of the industry as I have in Leeds, to be honest. Very little. Maybe Liverpool.
Yes,
I think it's less
Good
about,
shout.
like, Manchester does have loads of great independent bars, and I'm sure the community is huge and amazing, but maybe because I've been in it, Leeds feels so close and so tight-knit, and all the different like generations of bartenders stay friends, and you learn, like, people learn from them, and even if people move on, they still tend to come back to Leeds. You tend to see the same faces for years and years, which is amazing. And in Manchester and maybe Sheffield, maybe that's true, but I don't get the feeling of that.
They're a lot more spread out of cities, it feels, as well. Leeds is very, very tight.
It's very condensed.
For, not just the community aspect, but just literally the geography.
The distance.
And it's like, as you say, it's, well, as the title song alluded to, you've got Call Lane to Merrion. There's obviously spots in between, but between Call Lane and Merrion and just those sort of broader catchment areas, like the sort of the top, was it Top Briggate? What's the street, I guess?
Yeah, Upper
with
Briggate.
Like, so you got like
North Bar and
Wax,
Wax,
Grind, and it's like sort of, it's an area. It feels like it's a destination where you can kind of go there and bounce around the bars. And I've never really found that when I've travelled across the UK. It feels, but maybe it's just Leeds is special.
I think Leeds is just special. I think Liverpool has it to an extent.
Yes,
from what I've seen.
Most definitely Liverpool as well. Yeah. So where did it all start for you with the bar stuff?
Because
I was trying to work out year-wise. I'm guessing 2013, 14, 15?
Yeah, it will have been... Oh my God, let me think. It will have been, maybe 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2011, 2012. It was when I first came to Leeds. And I was doing hospitality, but for like a law firm. So I was doing events and like daytime hospitality. And then obviously just started to meet people and go out and made friends and fell in love with the city, and then started working on Merrion Street. I kind of made friends with some people in Verve and the Reform, as it was at the time. I feel like that is the main thing that ages me. People think I'm still in uni, and then I'm like, do you not remember the reform? Like that was like 15 years ago.
It's like referring to Key Club as basement or something like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, I'm showing my age now. There used to be all sorts of spots around Leeds where you'll just say the name and it's like, okay, you're in your 40s. But yeah.
Well, people come to me now at Power Corruption Lies and say, oh, you won't remember Norman's. I do. I actually do remember Norman's very well.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago, really.
No, as you say, like what, 4 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, Merrion's where it started.
The Reform.
Yeah.
The Reform. How long were you there for when you first started?
Well, I was just a barback, and it was all very new to me.
Yeah.
So I was there. I was there for a few months, maybe a year, and then left, and then went back just part time, just on weekends to barback, and stayed there. I was at Mean-Eyed Cat Reform, and then Mean-Eyed Cat on and off for about 8 years.
Oh wow!
On and off.
Yeah.
But yeah. I had a great time. I loved it there.
As well as Santi's though, during that era?
No. Santi's, I had my first ever trial shift, well not trial shift, like a guest shift, Startender shift, when Owen was running Santiago's for the tattoo convention actually. That was my first ever Santiago's shift, just as a guest. And then went back to whatever I was doing at the time. And then I didn't start at Santiago's until 2016.
Okay, I thought it was earlier than that. But
I was just around.
yeah. I love the concept of the Startender though. 'Cause it's obviously just awkward portmanteau aside. It's just the concept that, just to explain it. Or do you want to explain it?
Sure. So at first we used to call it a disco shift.
Yes.
A disco shift is you just go and you party and you have fun. And it's just generally nighttime. You don't actually do, a lot of work. You just go and help out and have a laugh.
And to be clear, this is a bar that you don't work at.
Yeah, sorry. So this would be somewhere where you just went for one night, where you just, you go because they needed extra hands or because you needed extra money or anything. And then it became Startender,
nice,
like a guest bartender.
So is that a Leeds thing then, do you reckon?
I have heard of it happening in other cities, definitely.
It would
I've heard
happen,
of it
obviously, but like term
I've never heard the term before, no.
Because disco shift is a lot.
That.
Yeah, disco shift is a lot more kind of, it feels a broader term, but Startender.
I don't know. I wonder.
Yeah, but it's also a fucking sick deal if you can get one, because it's like you usually get paid over the odds. As you say, it's a fun time to have, and you can usually duck out before the breakdown.
Yeah, if you're smart about it.
Yeah. Which brings us nicely to the deep clean you experienced today.
Oh yeah, I love a deep clean. I do.
I mean, it's nice to be able to when they're giving you the time. So like, you're on shift today just to do that deep clean of the bar.
Yeah.
And it's a case of like just pulling out all the fridges and just literally everything, all of the furnishings get pulled back and.
Yep, everything gets fully disinfected, hot and soapy, detailed, scraped, polished, everything.
Cool. So I was going to go with the angle of the shittier parts of the job being, I hate the breakdowns, I hate the cleaning. Are you a fan of the breakdowns then?
Oh no, I don't think does anyone like breakdowns.
Yeah.
I mean,
if it's in the daytime, it's a different story to like at 4 a.m.
I think everyone I say in my head, everyone either prefers to open or close. I actually can't think of anyone who would prefer to close personally. No. But at the same time, it's all about the team, innit? Like,
exactly.
If you've got a good team and it just flies by, then it's fun because by then you're playing your own music
but also different bars and different breakdowns.
You're going to go home after an hour.
Yeah, but different bars, different breakdowns as well. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, some places, like where every once in a while Mojo getting us to just again do the deep clean, but at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And
oh my god, that's awful.
It would only be a once in a while, but like just
it'd be an all-nighter.
So what would you say were the bigger red flag negatives of what you've experienced over the years in the industry, like parts of the role, not so much the people?
No, I'm not going to be naming and shaming anyone.
Well, there's Jim, there's Dave.
No, I love Jim and Dave.
What would you say are the better things? we can switch to the positive.
No, I was just going to say, I think maybe being trusted on a bar is really important. It's not about the people in necessarily, but it's about like the culture and the environment of the place where you work. If the whole team feels just comfortable to crack on, whether that's like with customers or with cleaning down at the end or opening, then I think that kind of fosters a really good vibe that those people are important to do what they're going to do, and they kind of know what's best. Obviously that's only relevant if they do know what's best, but again, that just kind of makes a good team.
There is a hell of a lot of trust.
That's a green flag as well.
Yeah, there is a hell of a lot of, as you say, the trust element, and just that thing of like just assuming that somebody's going to do a good job. Somebody is trustworthy, because there's, not so much now, but like a lot of cash flying around and a lot of bottles of booze flying around, and it's like if you're a knobhead, then it's an easiest thing in the world to exploit, really, I'd imagine.
True. And also, even if it's not like someone being a knobhead, I think actually, maybe a less good part or a difficult part is whether you like it or not, there is alcohol and other things flying around all the time, and that obviously is a problem for some people. And even if it's not a problem for you yourself, you will be affected by that at some point. And it's not obviously anyone's fault, but it can affect people. Sometimes for a night, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for weeks and weeks at a time, sometimes like for a long period of time. And it can be difficult as a friend and as part of the community, which is the massive green flag. Obviously the community is second to none, like we said. It's amazing, and if anything kind of threatens that, you feel really protective, and that's a difficult thing to do in a job where you have to be really hands-on and really just observant of what's happening here and now, when you're also thinking maybe about whether it's a friend or a customer or another member of staff who's maybe struggling a bit for whatever reason. Maybe they're just tired, overworked, maybe it's something deeper, but you do kind of experience a lot of things that maybe you shouldn't in your day-to-day job.
I think that is one of the, thankfully I've not seen too many instances of people, friends, kind of coming a crop because of the booze and the partying, but you see it occasionally every few years. There's like somebody or something. Is that, how prevalent would you say that is?
I'd say it's really quite prevalent.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been lucky not to see very many very serious things happen, but it is prevalent, and it is something that I think that everyone is aware of.
Yeah.
However much it might be talked about, I think everyone's aware of it.
Is there like a sort of a community element of self-policing in that respect, or I mean, have you ever had to step up and be the friend to somebody to say, look, I think something's going wrong with your relationship with alcohol, or have you known of that? Intervention type scenarios, I guess.
I think interventions are impossible in that kind of work, because everyone's involved in it.
Yeah.
Again, to whatever extent, everyone's involved. So I think the important thing is to just still be there. You can still be someone's friend. You can cut them off and say, have a water, but sit down. Like, it can still be friendly. I've never had it go wrong. I've never tried to help someone and have it backfire. It's always just been fine. I can't think of an example. So obviously it's always been okay.
Thinking on that as well, though, the amount of times when I've known of bartenders that have kind of said they're on a break at the moment, and you kind of, obviously you rock up to the bar and you kind of check who's having shots and drinking at the time. And yeah, it's a common thing, and it's almost like there's the badge of honor to always be drinking. And when you have that normalization of people that are saying, no, I'm on a break at the moment. I'm on a dry week. I think this is what a lot of it comes down to, is giving it a name that's like, doesn't sound like, I don't know, just kind of crappy or whatever. Yeah. But just, I'm on a dry week. It's a thing that everyone can appreciate. For the next week, he ain't drinking, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
As I say, it's that, I think that normalization of it that probably is its own form of self-policing, and it probably is just a case of a manager saying, look, you need to be dry for the next week, after seeing one or two instances, whatever it may be.
Yeah. But
because there's that awareness in the broader scene that people do go through these dry kind of spells of not drinking on shift, that it's an accepted thing. But I think probably rooting back to the fact that everyone ultimately knows that it's an insane privilege to be able to drink on shift.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And it should be fun.
Yeah.
I think it has changed for the better a lot in recent, like, over the last few years, personally. I think that just the culture has changed from everyone's having a shot. I bought 10 shots, so everyone's having one. Now people do just say, no, I don't want one. You don't even need to give a reason. And I think that goes back to what I was saying about trust. Personally, I think that depends on the environment that you work in and the team that you work with. If you work with people that care about themselves and you, like, again, staff or everyone, then you can just say that and it's not a big deal. If you have managers who encourage you to enjoy your work without that being the main focus, then it's not the main focus.
Yeah.
And I think I have managed to experience that more recently, for sure, where the main focus is enjoying the job.
Yeah.
For other reasons,
It's
and that has such a good knock-on effect.
But it's such a fantastic job as well. I think
exactly.
Even as I was just saying it then about the privilege of being able to drink on shift, I forget that, like, it is an insane thing for, like, the wider world to be aware of. That, like, you wouldn't, because why would you? You work in a job, you shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, like, say they work in, say, a traditional pub or a Wetherspoons or something of that nature. It's not going to be a thing there.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think sometimes I have to catch myself on the things that I've normalised that may be a little bit toxic, but
also, I guess that's part of business, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's creating an atmosphere.
Yeah.
A lot of the staff, again, more in the past than now, but we're encouraged to show a great atmosphere, look like you're having fun.
Yeah.
And it worked. Wetherspoons isn't really known to be, like, best super fun atmosphere party place, is it? So
whereas Santi's has got Whiskey Wednesday.
Exactly.
So you ended up at Santi's in
roughly 2016.
Okay.
I left in 2021, and obviously that was with a year break.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved Santi's.
Yeah.
One of the best jobs I ever had.
I was going to say, I remembered, I was trying to think when I'd last seen you in there, and I think it might have been during the COVID sign-in period, where we had to, like, literally just sign onto a fucking form to say you'd gone into a bar.
So, yeah, Santiago's is not the place for people to be giving away their email addresses. No one liked that at all for some reason.
Yeah, when there was also that kind of potentially creepy aspect of dudes that were, if you put your number down and, like, maybe a dude could kind of scan it through and take your number and or even your name just to search for you on Facebook. And
that's so true.
I think I can't remember exactly instances, but I've seemed to remember people saying that they had experienced that.
I wouldn't be surprised, I suppose. Any kind of public place, someone's trying to be creepy.
Exactly, yeah. But so is it the COVID thing that saw you out the door at Santi's, or just a different bar opportunity, or?
No, I don't. It was nothing.
Because it was a period of flux. 2021. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was all like, well, we're reopened, but
not really. And
what's going to happen? And nothing really felt kind of stable.
Yeah, it was partly lockdown. Things just changed, and as I found out, that wasn't obviously specific to Santiago's. I didn't really think it was, but things just didn't feel the same. It didn't feel as fun. Everyone was so kind of on edge. Obviously, everyone had been really badly affected, and also I thought, if I'm going to come back into this, I kind of want to maybe be a little bit have a little bit more responsibility, take it a bit more seriously.
Okay.
I think maybe that was just the shake up as well of, maybe I wouldn't have got furlough, maybe I wouldn't have had a job at all, maybe I need something quite more stable.
Yeah.
And so I went somewhere where I thought I'd be able to progress a little bit more.
Which was
Quality Social.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And did you get a sort of management role there, or
I
work
was,
towards it, or?
Yeah, I was like a supervisor.
Within the bar world, is that kind of, I guess, adjacent to assistant manager, or?
No, not really. It depends on the size of the venue. So I'd say somewhere like Santiago's, I was also, I guess, a supervisor because there was so few of us.
Yeah.
But there was so much to do there. There's 2 floors, there's events, there is quite a lot to do. And like Power Corruption and Lies, there's a lot. There's a restaurant, there's bar, there's late night, there's cleaning shifts, there's a kitchen, there's chefs. So an assistant manager and a supervisor will be wildly different. But calling social, not necessarily. Like
Just
I would
quickly,
be kind of running shifts to an extent the same as other managers.
How corruption lies. So is the kitchen in the bar back area?
Yeah, there's like an
Okay.
open theatre kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, it's all open then. Oh.
Yeah, so like half of
okay.
it's the bar and half of it's the kitchen now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was just that big weird wall that covered up half of Norman's.
That was my home. Yeah.
That big weird wall.
When I worked Norman, I've only done like maybe 4 or so Norman shifts over the years. But,
Oh really?
Oh yeah, some of the worst of my life.
Oh really?
Jesus Christ, it was.
Did you work with Owen?
For a few of them, it was Owen. There was when I first started bar work in like 2009-ish, because I think Jake's and Norman's had the same ownership. Maybe.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I ended up working a few Norman's shifts whilst I was working at Jake's. So
Yeah, I'm sure there was some connection there. There is between
who
everyone.
the hell knows? But yeah, some very bad shifts there.
Oh,
Some very
I'm
violent
sorry.
things happened. But yeah, but there was that nice little cubby area at the back of it. I was trying to visualize where the kitchen could even be in that place, but
Well, when they ripped everything out, I remember I was
Oh,
living across
okay.
the road when they ripped out Norman's.
Yeah.
So obviously it was 2020. I wasn't doing anything besides looking out my window. When they ripped it out, I was shocked. I think other people were as well. That how much space there was there. I had never seen like the brick walls and the beams and the windows.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember that from Norman's. And it's huge. It literally doubled in size when they
Oh,
kind
sick.
of ripped everything out.
I want to go in there now and see what it's like.
Have you not been in?
I don't think I've ever been there because I don't know. It's never felt like it was my place. I don't go to Alchemist and what have you, so I'm.
Well, exactly. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't go. I can't imagine. I don't know. I don't really go out that much anyway. If I
Yeah.
get,
Give
I'm
it a
older.
go.
Yeah, okay, most definitely. But like for me, it's just me. I'll just go to Santi's or something.
Which
so.
is totally fair. And
Yeah,
I understand that.
Just go out, see pals. It's like I'm not young enough to be kicking it with the children on Call Lane.
You'd
but,
never know.
yeah. But Call Lane wise then, how would you explain the spread of bars and venues they've got down there? Because it is a real mix of things.
Yeah.
Like Roland's being a thing, Northern Guitar being a thing, Jake's being up from those, being worlds apart. Is Art Cafe's closed, isn't it?
Yes.
It's probably a while ago, actually.
There's a new bar there now, actually, called Bar 42, which I think is a bit more party bar kind of
Okay.
vibes, but it's nice.
Yeah.
I think it's nice that there's a mixture there because it means it's not just so that maybe a silver lining of lockdown is that obviously outside trade really started, which is
Yes,
in the
yeah.
whole city, which is so much more. People love that about Europe, about European cities like Paris and whatnot, and I really do think it's nice. So Call Lane in my head has always been a late night place, and now Power Corruption and Lies is there. It opens during the day. Porter opens during the day. Neon opens during the day. There's If opens during the day. Northern Guitars and Roland's open like a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And now there's kind of more of a presence there throughout the day, which I think maybe has changed perceptions of it a little bit and also gives it a nice mixture. So especially kind of, like midnight-ish.
And they closed the traffic as well, didn't they? Is it still closed?
They only close it now like weekends, night times for safety reasons, I assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's still traffic going down there during the days.
So we got like Jake's,
Jake's, Oporto, Neon Cactus, Cuckoo, Roland's, Northern Guitars, If, and then on the other side, Bar 42, Calling Social, Power Corruption and Lies.
And where are you heading if you were just out drinking in a place that you don't work at?
I mean, maybe it's a bartender thing where I go everywhere.
Yeah.
I make time to go everywhere. It depends really what you want. If I want a pint in the sun, you mean on Call Lane specifically?
I mean,
just in general.
To be honest, everywhere, I guess. Yeah.
I honestly go everywhere. I love it. I love.
That's why I'm asking, because
Yeah.
you are. I think for everyone I know in the Leeds bar scene, you're one of the more social, and you're one of the more, you know everyone, and across the bars and what have you. So, but I mean, it's people like Is it Joe, lad, a friend of yours?
Probably. Which Joe?
I don't want to say chunky lad.
Junior?
I don't know.
Bald.
Yes.
Yeah, Junior.
Yeah, okay, cool. I don't know him, so I don't know the nicknames.
Joe
but
is his real name, but Junior is his name. Junior is one of the managers at Neon Cactus, and we lived together when I lived on Call Lane. It was the best flat ever in the world.
Nice.
He's still at Neon Cactus.
Okay.
He's actually a really good example because there's such a nice community that I think a lot of people who work on Call Lane in general just tend to stick down on Call Lane.
Yeah.
And when I worked up on Merrion, I would just stick up on Merrion for the most part, I guess. And now I've done both. I can kind of see both more objectively. And sometimes I spend too long on Merrion. I have to leave. We have to go now. I can't just spend all night here. And the same on Call Lane. I'll spend a couple of hours there. Or even on my break, I'll try and leave because I just want to go
see
somewhere
the other
else.
personalities, or
exactly. We'll see other personalities. Just get a different
vibe.
Yeah. I think I don't want to get sick of my job. I really enjoy my job for now, and I enjoy where I am, and I love the lane. I don't want to get sick of the lane, and I think it's really easy to get sick of it if you just get sucked in and don't really leave.
Yeah.
And that's the same no matter where you work. Like, it'd be the same if you worked on Greek Street and you just go next door to where you get discount. But I think it's worth it to just go elsewhere.
Yeah. I guess you could stratify Merrion as being quite an indie hub in its own way, and Call Lane as being more of a chart-friendly, generic-y.
I think that definitely has been true for a long time.
Okay.
I think it has started to change personally. If you just think about the music on Call Lane right now, there is a mixture of like R&B and old school like indie and rock, and Northern Guitars is obviously much more kind of like alternative and music led, and then Jake's Bar is like dancey and R&B, and we're like disco, and Call Lane Social is quite charty. Cuckoo is like sing-along kind of guilty pleasures, party bangers. I think there's quite a good mixture, and I think Merrion Street again maybe was quite alternative, and then it's just kind of slowly developed as it got busier and busier. It got a little bit more what do you call it, like pleasing everyone. But I think that's the same on both streets. You can go to different bars and get a different thing. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm trying to remember where it was. After Santiago, it was down to Call Lane Social.
Yeah.
How long you were there for?
I was there for a year.
Okay, and then, because you'd left the bar industry at some point, didn't you?
Yeah, that was after I left Call Lane Social. So I left Call Lane Social and went to university, basically. Well, I had been at university, but I finished university after I left Call Lane Social, and did a year in my industry, which is mental health, which was amazing and interesting and eye-opening, and I loved it. But I then wanted to study again, which is why I've come back, because I need somewhere I'm comfortable with in my day-to-day while I spend 25 hours a week studying. I want to spend the rest of my time doing a job I'm really comfortable in and I really enjoy, because I think balance is important. And when I was at my mental health job, balance was really difficult because it's a big job. It takes a lot out of you.
Oh, I can only imagine,
and especially because it was very new for me to make that change.
So at the moment you're doing, is it a master's?
Yes, I'm doing a master's in psychology now.
Okay, because whenever I see you posting online about things in relation to it, it just always seems so complicated. You said something about some sort of statistical analysis software you were looking at yesterday, and
I don't want to think about my statistics for sure. I'm good at talking to people. That's a common thing.
Yeah.
All I do in bars is talk to people. All I did in my undergrad and during my job in mental health was talk to people, look at people's faces, think about what they think and listen to how they feel. And now apparently I have to learn like what a p-value is, and I just don't care.
What is I entirely get lost by all of that shit. I work with worlds of technical people, and for the past decade I've been like the least technical person in the room, so it is what it is. But so you finish the masters, and what will when that happens, what will life be looking like, do you think?
Well, so I've always been interested in mental health, and during my undergrad I wrote about mental health within well-being, I guess, within hospitality, within all industries, but specifically about hospitality because that's what I know. Basically talking about having well-being and mental health people within companies, independent or freelance, or you've got a payroll person, why not a well-being person? And I used my dissertation basically to try and prove that it would be financially viable to have that, which I think it would be. And I think with all of the problems just that everyone in the world has, let alone with the addition of drinking and shift work, and it's obviously a very young industry, so high transience and sudden life changes happening for people like that. It's often people's second jobs, it's young people or people with like less income.
So I'm assuming the say a mental health champion within an organisation to help with, say, staff retention, staff well-being, then reflecting in staff performance and these sorts of things. So have you done has that been a big part of your research then?
That's what I wrote my dissertation on.
Oh, amazing.
Everything. So it would reduce, it would make staff retention better. It would
do you want to give us the pitch?
Well, it would just be a person who works for the company who would, the way I see it, they would be able to train managers in people management, which I think is really important. Again, cultivating a good working environment is where you start, because you can't really do anything without managers and colleagues who are on the same page. So training managers, supervisors in management, but also people management and group dynamics and things like that. Also just mental health, not first aid, but like dealing with mental health in the moment when you're in a very fast-paced job is a very nuanced, difficult thing to do, and it shouldn't just be managers who have to deal with that, but it also shouldn't just be whoever's standing nearest to you. And then also they could be there if someone needed to talk about something, not necessarily work related but home related, and if that person was a licensed professional, they could then refer you on if you needed something more, or they could help to sign you off if you needed time off, or they would be able to kind of look at what's needed and perform that training, if you know what I mean. And I just think that would be worth it.
And I imagine for like some of the groups, the bigger kind of companies, it's going to tick a lot of boxes for them, because everyone at the moment is looking to kind of safeguard every given goddamn thing, and it's obviously mental health is such a big thing. I think it was Mental Health Week about a month back now, and wherever we've worked in the past, for the past decade, it's just been every year it's a big push is made by these companies now to kind of make that aspect felt within the corporate sphere. All year long. Cool. All year long.
I agree. I can't really get behind things like mental health first aid training, because obviously it's brilliant, but you spent 2 days. Does that actually, did that all apply to your 25 members of staff, 30 members of staff, 60 members of staff? Did it? And are you going to remember that when you are on your feet in the middle of a shift, when you're high stress? And also, who do you then go to if you have a problem when you're the one who did the mental health training? And a lot of places do offer third-party counselling, which is amazing and brilliant, but I think there needs to be more.
Okay, can you see that coming into the sort of the standalone independent bars then? And how could it even? I guess consultancy.
So. Yeah, consultancy,
Yeah.
freelance. If it was a recognised kind of thing people did. I don't know, it was very...
Well, I guess
it was one I did.
in the same way, you
I don't
mentioned,
see why not.
you mentioned earlier before we started that you'd had some wine training recently. That obviously within the bar world, drinks training is just such a huge thing. They'll get in the makers of the drinks, and we've had it with some Portobello Road gave us a really good gin training. So shouts to those guys. But I guess of the same tact, it's essentially the same thing. So it's a case of everyone turns up for during a Monday afternoon, and maybe sort of several Monday afternoons, essentially a program as such.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and plenty of companies will employ a third party person who comes in to do stock takes or auditing or HR and things like that. So why not? To me, just why not?
Yeah.
It's needed every week. I would guarantee that every week the managers have some kind of problem with a rota or a staff member or their own burnout or stress or something.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. So wow, I can only imagine where this could lead you then. So
that's the very vague dream.
Yeah, because I mean, can you see yourself more as the consultant or in-house scenario? Say for one of the groups, I guess, or both groups.
I think it would be really difficult and probably unethical to do it for people who definitely for people who you know, but also when I've been in that situation, I think it would be quite difficult for me because I would have like a potential bias there because I've been in that position. So if I heard someone who was having trouble with something maybe I've struggled with, I think I wouldn't be able to be very objective. I would immediately be thinking back to, oh, I was so angry when that happened, or I nearly walked out of that shift when that happened to me, and that makes you not a very good mental health professional. So I'm not sure exactly what is in store for me, but this is the shape of my plan.
Yeah, but it all comes with experience, though. You say that, but like, there's the professionalism of it, and it's like, I guess once you've been around the sort of the carousel of those scenarios a few times, you'll kind of learn to deal with it as you're meant to deal with it, I guess. But yeah, sorry, I hadn't even considered that as an angle, but that's super fucking exciting for you.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I love that because I legit had no idea where you could be ending up, because I knew that obviously when the Masters was completed, that more than likely leaving the bar scene, it isn't a place that you're meant to stay forever. Obviously some people can, some people do. They're the outliers that manage to make it work for themselves in whatever way it is, but for most of us it's kind of a thing that you do and that you fall in love with and kind of try to get away from and finally do, but it's always there, I guess. But yeah, it's very interesting to see where you could end up in down the line. Yeah,
thank you.
Speaking to that, I guess, do any lifers spring to mind for you? The people that have like just
that have
always
stayed in it forever.
Yeah, like when you arrived on the scene, they were the OGs back when you arrived, and they're still there. Yeah, for
sure. I think there's a difference. Some people want to be managers, they want to be owners, they want to be ops managers. So there's a few in Akito who, at least I remember from when I first came to Leeds, people like Paul and Lucy I remember seeing around who own Akito, and Ross, who used to work at a Porto and now he's like upper, and Rory, and also in Escapism, Chris Radford, if you remember Chris Radford from Verve. He doesn't work in the industry full time anymore, but I still see him around doing the odd shift, and it's nice to see like faces like that. And obviously Dave from Santiago's, obviously. I don't know, probably. I think there's quite a lot of people in Leeds, like we said earlier, who've been in the industry a really long time. There was people who were older than me who were already experienced when I started, and there's people younger than me who've been in it so long that they're experienced now.
It's a ridiculously fun job to get into. It was a very hard thing to leave for me, and I think just for whenever you speak to people that have left the industry, that it's, as you say, they'll gravitate back eventually, and you will go back to the bars that you used to work at, etc. What would you say was the sort of the biggest draw, if you could remember, when you were kind of getting into the scene full stop, but then also being drawn back into it? Because being drawn back into it, you've obviously got the awareness as to all of the negatives, but there obviously was a fight there of, well, I remember what this, that, and that. Was there a kind of any to and fro on that, or was it just a hard and fast, I want to get back because this? And what was the this?
I think community is the obvious thing to say, and I would expect anyone that's been in the industry a few years to say the community. I think it's very rare for people to be in a job so long and still be able to say that they're close friends with the people that they started with.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think personally that's quite rare in other industries, and not in bars. You just grow and grow and grow and grow. More and more people come into the industry, and I think that experience is what made me feel secure in coming back. I wanted to come back because, like I said, I needed something that I was confident in, that I found easy and enjoyable, to come back to while I was studying. But that confidence and experience meant that I knew what I was looking for in the environment that I was wanting to work in, and the type of bar I wanted to work in, and I knew that community was still going to be there. So if I had problems, then I'd be fine. So to be honest, there wasn't really anything holding me back, unless I would not have been able to find a position. But obviously I did. I was lucky.
Speaking to that as well, that something that I've really liked in the industry, or maybe just the Leeds scene, people bouncing between roles. Yeah. Because I hate job interviews. The whole process is just a fucking ball ache. It's like it's a 2-3 tier thing. You apply, you wait, you hear back, blah 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 blah. When you just know that, I can do the fucking job. Just give me the fucking job. I can do it. Time and again in the bar industry, you just see people that were like, oh well, we've got a role going. Do you want it? Yep, cool. Yeah. And that's literally the beginning and end of it. Yeah. And it's just a case of people that see another individual, know that they can do the job, and they're just slotted in. Is that quite as rife as I've simplified it down to, or is that like sort of just the lower level straight up bartenders? To kind of slot someone in at, say, management level, you're going to have to kind of be lower level first, or go through an application process, or is it? I've never seen the full spiel of like a dragged out application process on the bar side. What's it like? What's the reality?
Well, in my experience, it is just like that. Obviously, if you are going for management, there are certain expectations, but also, again, if someone's seen you work, then again, it's about that environment, that trust. They've seen you do what you needed to do in that position. It would be kind of up to them to apply it to what they wanted you to do. Obviously, there is application processes, but I have seen there's a lot of people I know who have never done a job interview, and they're my age, or they've only done 1 or 2, and they've never written a CV because they haven't needed to. Yeah. Because even if you do go in and do trial shifts, obviously, which you do, and you'll do management tests or management courses, they will already know you, so you'll know to kind of agree to that, or you'll know what you're getting in for. As opposed to just hoping that they pick you and then getting onto that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing as well, as I say, just to kind of have that thing of, they know you can do the job, they give you the job. It is what it is. Yeah. I struggle to think of, it's the playground element of the silliness of bar work, and there's a lot more to it. Obviously, there's a hell of a lot to it. I think you probably appreciate more than most the psychological aspects of things, and sort of the reading of the rooms, and all of those like just nuanced skill sets that you can't really teach a person. But ultimately, it is just a big bag of fun. Yeah. With your pals. Absolutely. And I'm just working an office job and very envious for just remembering all of those times. I'm 45 now, so I can't be doing that shit. But
is that what was hard for you to leave, like leaving the fun of it all?
Yeah, but when I left, it was literally for the same reasons you said with Santis, or with when you said that the thing stopped being fun because of the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
It was, once all the rules came in, it was like, you know, obviously understand why the rules were there. Obviously always follow the rules. We were one of the you get occasional pride points in the role, and Northern Monk, where I was working at the time, we got some really great reviews, like sort of the online sort of TripAdvisor and on Facebook, of people saying, because it sounds a bullshit trite thing to talk on now, but at the time, you know, it was, everyone was just worrying for their lives, and it was a genuine absolute panic. And for us to kind of be able to give the absolute top level experience, and people to be able to appreciate that, and saying we were worried coming out to the bar, going out into society, and we were made to feel comfortable and we were made to feel safe, and this is what we just enjoyed the experience.
That's so nice.
Yeah, being able to bring that back to people was fucking great, and we did all of that obviously, but that's not why I got involved. And it's all well and good being able to give good customer service, which I love. It's great to do a good job, but I also love getting fucked up, having a laugh, and just being frivolous behind the bar. And you can't be frivolous at 6 feet, so it's, or whatever it was, was it 6 foot?
6 feet, yeah.
Fucking hell.
2 meters or something.
Something stupid. It turns out it wasn't even real. It's all fucking hell. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, that was exactly it with Santiago's. I love Santiago's to death, but what it is not is a table service bar run by 2 or 3 people. That's just not what it is.
Did you have an app there, or?
No.
No, okay.
I'm pretty sure if it was up today, we'd all still be trading with like gold coins or something. To be perfectly honest, like, I'll give you this pack of cigarettes for a pint, and he'd be like, yeah, all right.
I mean, Santis is Santis. It's
I remember when they got the card machines in. It wasn't long ago.
I mean, we talk on that now, but like there is a kind of, maybe the pandemic helped that watershed moment of the shift from cash to digital. But like prior to that, it was because I think Northern Monk changed in 2019, and we felt an outlier. And
being card only.
Yeah. At that time in 2019, but it was still creeping in, and you'd still see like the sort of the old boy drinkers that would be like, oh, whoa, really?
Cash is king.
Yeah, cash is king. But then you see the flip of like sort of the breakdown at the end of the night, cash wise, and just sort of people not having to spend like a whatever it would be. Like if somebody's a bit leathered and they're trying to count coins at the end of a night, it's the amount of times like, have you worked with Ben Palmer?
No, but I know who you mean,
yeah. Yeah, you like to have a drink. And Ben Palmer cashing up at the end of the night is a long experience. So like that sort of shit, it's a lot smoother experience.
We've all been there.
Yeah, it is what it is. So looking back over everywhere you've worked, what would you say would be the perfect sort of bar working experience for you, in whatever it may be, people, layout of the room, what you're serving, the customers, any facet at all? What is it that makes the perfect bar roll for you?
Oh, that's really difficult, I think, because I think it's been different at different points in my career and just in my life. And
the different places give different things as well.
Exactly. Always it just comes back to the team. So every job that I remember,
pick and choose from different spots then.
So I think the biggest ones, when people ask me where I've worked in a million places. I've done so many different jobs, but I will always remember Mean-Eyed Cat, because I remember every single person I worked with. I'm still close friends with a lot of them. It was fun. It was just purely fun, just enjoyment. I don't have any like bad feelings. Alistair and Shannon and Nick Pounder, and Aaron, loads of people. Loved everyone that ever worked with me. I loved them so much. And then Santiago's, obviously. I think I'd always like known regulars, but I think Santiago's is the first place where I properly feel like I have friends who were just regulars, and now they're good close friends. And I see them separately, and they come see me at different places that I work, which just feels so good and so nice. And obviously I was there for a long time, and I love everyone that's worked there. I love that Jim's gone back. Everything's gone full circle. Just wait for Seddon to come back now. And Power Corruption and Lies has been so perfect for what I need now, and I think it's all about just feeling comfortable. I've never, in none of those places have I ever felt nervous or scared or like I'm doing the wrong thing. Even if I was doing the wrong thing, I've never been made to feel like you're doing the wrong thing. I've just been encouraged, like, no, you're doing great, go do that. And all I'm doing really is talking to people and learning drinks. That's all I like to do, really. So
what would you say were the wrong things? If somebody was like just first bar role ever, working on the bar, and there's going to be like worlds of like sort of the schoolboy errors, what are going to be a few of the things that might to have awareness of, to not do, or that might trip them up?
Being almost overly confident, being cocky. I think customers can see that. No one really, realistically, no one cares how well you make a drink or how much you know about wine if you're not fun, if you're not polite about it, if you're not pleasant to chat to. And I think a lot of people, because they really care about the knowledge and they really care about their career, and that's great. That's obviously an admirable thing. They will then try and focus on that more than actually just talking to people and serving people. And I think that can kind of trip people up a lot. And I also think being scared, and that comes, as I keep saying, with the team and the environment. If you go in and you're scared and customers are rude to you and you want to go and cry, then you're not in the right place. You're not in a good environment. If you don't feel like you can go to someone and say that you feel upset or scared, that's bad. And then if you don't tell anyone, then you're just going to feel like that every time you go onto the floor, onto the bar. So I'd say those two kind of opposites, I guess. I
think Jim had talked on that a bit about the sort of for him personally feeling like the self-confidence growing for the sake of working on the bar. And I guess it's that thing of the bar conveys the confidence almost, that people are coming to the bar because of what it is, especially for a place like Santi's. And if you're behind the bar, you kind of convey that confidence of the bar. If you can just roll with it and just not think too deeply on it, just kind of be there to experience the moment. And I think just the interaction of, as long as you're cool, then it imbibes that in confidence in you for the sake of just serve a beer. And if you do that, just serve a beer. Don't try and be clever. Don't try and be flash. Just pour the pint, slam it down, take the money, be friendly, give it a smile. Ad nauseum, 50 pints later, you're going to have like an insanely high level of confidence from day one for just doing the thing with nothing else really in the mix, because people respect the
authenticity
bar.
as well.
Authenticity, but also just the institution of going into a bar, I think, is just that people have respect for that. Well, they should do. In the ideal scenario,
You're
they will
a bartender.
do. But also just like someone, a member of the public, it's like I think there's that thing of the cool of the bartender, you know. And I think it's a thing that we're all aware of, but nobody really wants to talk about because it feels a bit douchey, and it's like and then the second you talk on it, you're thrown into the thing of, oh, what? So you think you're cool. But it is cool as fuck. And bartenders are cool as fuck. And
that's why everyone gets into it, right?
Basically, it's the coolest job in the world. But it's, I think if you can kind of not be, as we say, just not falling into the ego trap of like thinking you're a bit too special and just do the thing, it's almost a self-perpetuating confidence builder. And I do really genuinely love it for that. And seeing personalities like Jim suddenly like just sort of, see, when I first met him he was a little bit reserved, a little bit quieter, and to see him now it's like a brand new person. I do love the bar industry for that.
For sure. I think at Santiago's, when me and Levi were there, I don't know about Levi, but between us, we were not super into heavy music.
Yeah.
And we were the ones supposedly in charge of the music, and regulars would sit there and grump and groan and whine and beg us for Pantera, and we'd be like, I don't know if we're allowed to play that. But did they stop coming? No. Like, we're still all friends. I still go there all the time, and it just didn't matter because they liked us. So I guess that kind of proves your point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty much about it. Was there anything else you wanted to touch base on with regards to the industry, your role, your history, where you're going to be heading?
Oh, I don't know. What do you miss the most about the industry?
People. Seeing the best people every day.
Yeah.
And one of the more bizarre things I found about working in the bar, that you might be able to have seen this or not, you see a lot of people from your life. Like, what I found was that maybe it would be on a week-by-week basis, I would see somebody from a job that I'd just entirely forgotten about 20 years ago, or somebody from, high school, or whatever it would be, just like the most random figures from your past. But pretty much every week there would be somebody from your past would just randomly pop up. And I think it's just that thing of, there's that line of, if you sit in a space and stay there for long enough, you see the whole world passing by. And I think just being out there in the world and just being a part of the wider world, you get to experience the wider world of things. And that incorporates, obviously, the people that you've known over the years and what have you, but it's just seeing everything, seeing everyone, being a part of it, feeling useful to a process, doing a job well.
Yeah.
I think.
I completely agree with that. It's so funny you say that as well. I served a lady the other day who said she recognised me. I thought, well, it could be from any job ever. People say that all the time.
Yeah.
I just have to list off where I worked. And she was my first ever manager, only for a few weeks, but she was my first ever manager at that lawyer firm.
Oh yeah, okay.
Where I did hospitality. She taught me how to do events. She trained me up in hospitality. I've not seen her in like 12 years.
That's got to be a trip for her to then see you years down the line. And 13 years down the line?
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
She walked in literally last week. Not seen her since.
Well, I think that's about as good a place as any to leave it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Eddie in the night, from calling